Right, hello everyone. Welcome back to James and Flav for now with this week's guest, Flav. Jaffin is back.
Right.
Here's some. Just if you were wondering, should I listen to this podcast? Should I commit my life to another effing podcast? Let me explain why you should. A few reasons. First of all, we're going to talk about the big story and what I feel will be the big story of this Premier League season: Chelsea Football Club. Have they become utterly soulless? Or does it make sense, the Conor Gallagher move? We're going to talk about that and generally Chelsea. And there's the very broad question that could be answered by our beloved patrons who are watching right now, which Flav has asked on numerous podcasts. And every time I've spoken to him, make it make sense. Someone needs to do it. Maybe they can do it in the chat. We will find out soon enough. But just as importantly are these comments. Jaffin is backing the comments last week. It was a ray of sunshine. If you don't know about this podcast, then we make the running order from your comments. And these are some of the comments that people said on the back of Jaffin returning. George said this: I'm getting married tomorrow, but this might still be the highlight of my week. Joe Alborough said, Jaffin 2024-25. Here we slither. And speaking of that, there we land. If you don't know what that is, that's an alternative to Here We Go from Fabrizio Romano. I have a whole host of new options that people have either heard or you can enjoy, and they are bloody brilliant. They're very, very funny. Even Halliday said, I knew there was a reason I've been half-mast all day long. That means erection if you're American. Jaffin is back. That 317 likes on that. Now, is this a good podcast? I would suggest that something like that getting 317 likes would suggest that it is. And the replies, do you know what's great as well? Because not only is the podcast good, not only are the comments good, the replies are good. Where else do we see that? These are the replies to, I knew there was a reason I've been half-mast all day long. Connor Wilson says, built-in sixth sense. You're like a cow knowing it's about to rain. Charlie Williams says, half-mast, is that it? I've been raging all day. Re-Adventure Kid says, only half. I've been fully turgid since James shaved his bunts. Dan Simpson, another one. This is the dangerous ecosystem that is the Jaffin podcast, because one person's got 317 likes, yet 1, 2, 3 of the first 4 podcasts are coming after him. It's not a safe place, but it's an exciting place. Half-mast, part-timer, says Dan Simpson. And McSlash says, whenever a new Jaffin episode drops, somewhere in Italy, Fabrizio Romano whispers the words, I'm half-mast. That's good. The podcast you are listening to right now. So stick around. We will talk about football. We will talk about other things. And we also got a new bit, which we're not sure about, but we're going to give it a chance because it came from our mailbag, of which we did last week and do every week. And if you would like to become a patron, then you can do so. Links in the description.
What's the name of that bit? It's What's Better Than Cole Palmer.
What's better? Yeah, the People versus Cole Palmer, I've called it. I don't know if you like that or not. Oh, final two. These are good. Celtic says, Season 6, crazy. Since I started watching the pod, I've gotten engaged, married, had kids, divorced, and had the kids taken off me. If you're reading this, Shannon, please let me see them again. And last one, Supergas Forever says, I audibly gasped with excitement when I saw Jaffin was back. I explained to my fiancée what had sparked this joy, and now she wants to listen as well. Now, I appreciate she wants to take an interest in my interests, but I don't have the stomach to try and explain years of bits to her blank, confused face. At least she'll finally understand why me and my mates put our fingers in each other's mouths whenever England scored during the Euros. Brilliant.
Sensational.
We are back.
We are back. Stuff. Can I just tell you something that's just happened to me while you was doing that never-ending monologue to start this episode?
But hopefully we've gotten past 30 seconds. And if you're in now, get comfy, take a breath, and enjoy.
But did you notice me nodding like this quite a lot of it? I don't think you probably didn't. But I was just going like this.
I was in the zone. I was in the zone.
Right. Yeah, Jim, you was in the zone. And I was just nodding along like this because I've got to do something.
Is that a bit like, you know, like if you ever see any, if you ever see content, footage of someone in a studio and they're working on an album, especially hip hop. If someone goes, "Do you want to listen to this new track I'm working on?" As soon as it's played, because generally we're all listening to music all the time, but we're not going.
Yeah, you got to give it.
But in a studio, that's what they're doing.
Yeah, but Jim,
that what you were doing there? Just supporting me, really.
Yes, I was just supporting you, but they can't in the studio. They couldn't just do this, James. Because that would just be weird. Yeah. Like, all right, was he feeling it? But what happened, though, James? From here, my window is wide open, and there was a churchyard just there.
Right.
And I'm doing this, right? And I looked across, and the vicar is staring at me.
Oh dear.
And then it occurred to me that I've got earphones on, and it could look like I'm masturbating.
Right. Well, because you do that thing with your hand, don't you, a lot of the time?
Yeah, I was doing this. So Vicar thinks I've been masturbating. What time is it?
Does your head?
It's not even 11 o'clock.
Does your head shake when you masturbate?
Yeah, probably. Right, this is exactly what it would be like. Yeah, so yeah, it does.
Cool, that's intense. I'm getting a headache just watching it.
Should we talk about Chelsea or not?
Let's talk about Chelsea because I do think it is going to be the story of the season. Certainly the first half of the season, because I think there's a sort of there's a bedding in period in the first as new narratives sort of are laid down, not to rest but to writhe. And with Chelsea, I think especially during the transfer window and just the did you see that graphic on Sky Sports News that it was like years of a contract left that are still left to run for a football team in the Premier League, right. And it was just incredible. I might be able to find it quickly here.
What do you mean? Total months left to run by their entire squad?
Yeah,
Chelsea's must have been like that double.
Honestly, Sky Sports News. They got that. It goes the whole way round.
Tom Suchel. We got Tom Suchel, who's he's a Chelsea fan in the chat, and he says it's 196 years.
Mental, isn't
With
it?
just a little smiley face. It's almost like he's resigned. His nose.
Tom, do you fancy chatting to us? I've got to, because I think it's important if we can hear from a Chelsea fan, just to get some kind of understanding. What the heck? What on earth? Make it make sense. Flav has said to me on numerous occasions this week, and I don't know if you've got any kind of angle you could offer us, because it is getting the João Felix. I've tipped over now. The João Felix is one where I've gone. I'm just so confused. I don't understand what's going on. Got the picture.
John, do you know? I'm going to say it again because no one has given me an answer that's anywhere near satisfactory. In fact, James, no one has even attempted to answer me. Everyone just goes, "Oh no, I know." Yeah. I know. That's what I hear.
He Brummies. That was a Brummy accent.
I know. Well, yeah.
I know. It's unbelievable. First Brummy accent of the season. Lovely.
What? So let's just see where we are. Right. For the first time in my entire life, I actually feel for Chelsea fans, normal Chelsea fans. And look, and I get it, Like, I know they're not the most likable fan base. I know everybody hates them, along with sort of Leeds and Millwall and all that sort of stuff. Generally despised by the rest of football. They know it. It's fine. You're not supposed to be liked. That's the point. But I look at it and go, what has happened at Chelsea is unforgivable. And there are still Chelsea fans having a go at me. I don't know if you saw this video. We need to talk about the Conor Gallagher goodbye video from Chelsea, which is outrageous. How they've had the balls and the gall in the front to put that out while refusing to give him a contract that he should be given, and giving a 9-year contract to Mudryk or João Felix, a 7-year contract to João Felix, and their club captain, who, by their own admission in that video, has been with them since they were 8 years old and only ever dreamed of playing for Chelsea. And he can't get offered a contract anywhere near what João Felix has been offered. What is it?
I think it's João. I think it's João because I know people are going to come for you for that. So I'm just going to...
What did I say?
You're João. You've said João.
I'm really, really concentrating on trying to make my point rather than just getting to the actual, I don't...
And I know that's all I care about. But what I'm worried about is people coming after you. Okay.
I couldn't give a shit about those people.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone comes after me on a daily basis on Twitter. It's fine. Right? Okay. I'm used to it. João Felix. Is that what you said?
I think so. I hope I'm not wrong.
Anyway, look. The point is they're giving these contracts of commitment and expectation to players that have nothing to do and don't understand the fabric of the football club. Moreover, the supporters, and they are just pushing out the door those that kind of do understand it, or certainly wouldn't give them an option to play. And maybe it's just foolish of me to think that there is some semblance of correct behaviour in football and that ship has long since sailed. But this is outrageous. And I'll ask the point again. Please, someone explain to me how they think this is going to work out for Chelsea.
So, where's Tom? Tom, are you coming in or not? Does he know what to do? Got to come in the Jaffin studio. If you don't, basically, it's right there. Just jump in. Make sure you've obviously got got yourself ready, or let us know in the chat that you can't figure it out. We'll just move on. I tweeted actually earlier today, and obviously the nuance of Twitter. Actually, it should be there now. I guess I probably should have explained it more, but I thought the replies to this are really interesting. Now, obviously, I kind of know what I'm doing when I say if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be devastated, right? About Conor Gallagher going, right? And people are going to kind of get the wrong end of the stick. So it's not about hammering Chelsea fans here or anyone replying. Definitely an amazing guy. So many people pretend to rate him now just to point score over Chelsea. It's hilarious. We remember everyone takes at the Europe that when he was a laughing stock. Okay, right. Devastated over an average footballer. If he was so good, why didn't you clamour for him to play more at the Euros? We loved him because of his journey, but as a footballer, he was mid. Right. The point, so the sort of devastation here is not a kind of about him as a player. It's more about the treatment here. The fact that he's kind of been pushed out broadly is soulless, in my opinion. It feels a bit soulless. And so what's got you to the position where, because I think that it makes complete sense, right? That one, look, you might want to play a different style of football. And for that, Conor Gallagher probably doesn't fit. So I get that. It's the sort of pushing out of him and the fact that you've got so many, because there's so many Chelsea players now that have been pushed out. That in terms of me being devastated, if I was a Chelsea fan, I would be devastated because you have someone there that, as a player, in terms of what he will offer the group or the team, you can trust that. You can trust that you've got someone who's one of yours. And the fabric of any football club, that is kind of a question, but for me, it is a thing. You need people that accept, appreciate, retain the standards that you want to hopefully see in something that you commit your life to, right? In terms of your football club. And in terms of him being a starter or a squad player, that's a different question. But in terms of him being kind of pushed out, when you've got someone, as you say, who from 8 years old to now is just wholeheartedly Chelsea, and I find it I'm either being naive or it feels short-sighted that you've not been able to retain a lot of these players that know the club, care about the club, care about the staff at the club, care about the fans at the club. I feel like that's a missed opportunity that Chelsea as a club they're not seeing that the worth of that within a group, but also within a team as well.
You're right. You're 100% right. And Ollie's just mentioned here, right? The problem isn't that Gallagher is the latest example of the mentalness that's going on at that football club and the opportunity they had. This is the thing. This is why I kind of feel for them at the moment from a fan's perspective. And Ollie's just put this in the chat as well. When you remembered you saying, Jim, Chelsea could actually be fielding a team of academy graduates and it'd be the envy of every other team in the league. And they could have done it. They had a group of players which have all been moved on, either too early for a youth level. Perhaps you can sometimes think that someone like Tomori wouldn't have had a route through to the first team. Elise was with them, right? When he was. I'm sure he came through.
Yep.
Right.
Solanke.
So there's tons of players. Solanke as well. And sometimes moving these players on, you don't know. You wouldn't realise that Elise will probably end up being the world beater that we all think he will be. You don't know that at 17, 18. The fact is they had a clutch of excellent young players, the ones that have won honours at youth level. They had it all there, and they've destroyed that by selling them to anywhere that anyone would take them. And they've filled them with new young players that are not as good as those group on longer contracts. And it doesn't make any sense. And that's my problem. Declan Rice and others.
Because I think one thing to say that's really important here is a couple of things. One, this has been a long-running thing where Chelsea have stockpiled the best talent, young talent, and sold them on. And so that's not a sort of exclusively a Todd Bowley thing. To your, or the new ownership thing. To your point, what is different in terms of the long-term future of Chelsea is that, okay, you've gone and got all these really, young, exciting players, but that homegrown element of it, you've had to pull that lever to get around PSR, and you can only pull those levers sort of once when the replacement it seems to be I mean, actually, maybe I'm getting this wrong, actually. So I was going to say sort of a foreign import, but it's not actually. If you think of Chukwuemeka and a lot of these players, actually, they still retain that homegrown status. So if you then have to pull the lever on those guys to sell them again, then actually that will sustain it a little bit at least.
How many have they got? How many young players that are homegrown talents that they can use to help balance the books? Because that's what a lot of people are coming in on Twitter are saying, well, we had to sell him because we've got to balance the books. But it was because of every action before having to sell Gallagher is why you have to sell him.
Yeah.
So, and then there's still this kind of clamouring. And it's like I heard Alan Pardew on TalkSport the other day going, it isn't right that we have to sell academy products to balance books. There should be another way. How can there be another way other than that? Chelsea haven't paid money, a transfer fee, for that player. That's why it's 100% profit. It's not a rule that they just go, let's just... It isn't like the Premier League have gone, right, we just need to make it so that homegrown talents don't have they're 100% profit on the PR. Of course they are, because they haven't paid a transfer fee. There may be some wages to be consider. But Caicedo spent £100 million on him, right? If you spent £100 million on him, and then you sell him for £100 million on the balance sheet, it's not quite as simple as it, but it's zero. No profit, no loss.
Yeah.
Because you paid the fucking transfer fee up front. So why is everyone going, it's wrong? It's wrong that homegrown players should be incentivized. It's economics. It's just the way it is.
Yeah. And it's
frustrating.
No, it doesn't feel right is actually what people should be saying. In terms of it feeling right, what's
the club's behaviour are not right. It's not the rules.
But again, if you think of like the powers that be are basically trying to say, if you bring through a player, you should be rewarded for that. So that's a good incentive. Or also this thing. Imagine if you were like, okay, imagine if it didn't matter. Then again, in terms of the sort of growth of football in this country or players, homegrown players, there's not going to be a priority on that when you can go and get better players elsewhere. So that has to kind of stay in place.
And also, why is there an incentive to train your players? Why is there an incentive to have an academy? If there's no... Of course, you should be rewarded for developing your players, but it isn't an actual inbuilt into the rules reward. It's just facts. If someone comes on a free transfer and you sell him for £20 million, that's £20 million profit.
Yeah, and the sort of the Conor Gallagher one here again. This is what it seems. It just seems so. It's a little bit odd. And again, look, I understand he's maybe not the right kind of player for them. Pat Nevin said something really interesting, and I love Pat Nevin. But I think what he's doing, and again, this will happen a lot, I think, with this kind of conversation, is that are you talking about the moment itself specifically, or are you zooming out and looking at the whole pie? He said there was no need to spin it that Conor wasn't wanted because of this new possession style. The club have been keen to cash in on him for a season or more. The fans know this, so don't insult their intelligence with that line. I would wish Conor the best, whether he ended up at a Spanish Villa or Aston Villa. He just needs somewhere to find his talents. But and that's off the back of that's the back off of some saying that it's safe to say that some sections of the fan base have raised their eyebrows over the treatment and departure of a homegrown midfielder who clearly loved the club. That's the thing, but why has that occurred? That's occurred because the club have got themselves to a situation where they've had to look around and go, because of your contract and because of us prioritising what feels like the stockpiling of young talent over one of our own talent, you now have to go. And that is the ruthless nature of football, but it was absolutely avoidable. You could have had a really solid asset there that you could have that could have been very useful to the squad, if not the first team, or at least or at least get yourself at a point where you give him the opportunity. You have a group there that understands what the club's about. Give him the contract give him a contract and then sell him after that. It's so left field, the thinking, isn't it? I think that's what people are struggling with.
It's bizarre. Tom's been sitting waiting, but we'll bring him in a second. But
oh, is he there? Sorry.
Yeah, we'll bring him in a second. But you're telling me that Conor Gallagher, under no circumstances, could play in a system that Maresca is putting in place. He may not be suited, but you're saying he's not good enough to do it. He's unable to do it.
No,
this isn't about
I'm not
that.
saying that.
No, not you.
Oh, sorry,
I'm saying Chelsea are saying that. Maresca's saying that. And that may be the case that he's not completely suitable, but a player of his quality, it's almost like he's shit the way they're treating him. Like he's no good. It's madness. Of course he could play in that system.
Just quickly on that, this is a Maresca side that had played Wilfred Ndidi in midfield as an 8 as well. So Conor Gallagher could absolutely play at this level. Yeah, you're right.
It wasn't about. We know it wasn't about that, James. It was about purely balancing books, and they've put themselves in a situation they have to do it. There's a reason why Chalobah is not training with the first team. Clearly good enough to train with the first team. Should be there. They want to force him out in order to balance the books and equal the decision making they've made in order to make sure they don't fall foul. And I'd love an economist to explain to me how they in the future are not going to fall foul. They've committed so much to this squad without buying more players that they continue to do. It seems crazy to me. Anyway,
Maresca said that we had 20 in training yesterday, 21 today, 21 the day before.
Right.
Like I'm not working with 42, which is what I've been saying, haven't I? I was like, he's going to have to make, he's got to look after himself as well in his career. Like, he has to go, okay, I've only got 20 and that's it. What I'm confused about, and again, in terms of
23 players doing what?
Well, that's it. So what I want to know is why have those 23 others, the others. So on this first cycle of Chelsea, huge club, yes, this is great. I want to go there and make it as a Chelsea player. On the first time that in this first 3-year period, fine, but in that second 3-year period, why would you go there? What is the incentive to go there? Because even with the wages, they're going to be, yes, you're going to get a long-term contract. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's just absolute security of an 8-year contract.
Of course it's that. Injuries, nothing gets them out of that. You would sign it. It's not on the players. Of course, they're going there and going, so I'm secure for 7 years, regardless of what happens to me, as long as I don't down tools. Regardless of what happens.
Even if you do, what they're going to do? Just going to send you out on loan anyway.
Well, I'm saying don't turn up to training, that sort of stuff, gross misconduct, whatever it might be. So they're secured, right? And most of these players you'd think within 5 years won't be playing at Chelsea or playing elsewhere. That doesn't mean their contract isn't honoured by someone. So 100%, you would sign that contract.
I'm just absolutely because people can't be. What I'm struggling with is it has to be thought through. It has to be, doesn't it? So it must come. That's why I'm wary of utterly hammering it too far, because it's like this might completely be a sustainable model. I just think we're just 2 years. But I swear I said this 2 years ago. We're 2 years away from seeing if it actually is going to kind of be a sustainable model.
Yeah, maybe we're wrong. Just never seen anything like it before in football. Ever.
Tom, I'm going to unmute you.
No, he's muted himself.
Oh, you mute yourself. It's like that, is it? Little power move from there, Tom. Great work.
Hello, boys. How are we doing?
I'm good, mate. How thoughts on Conor Gallagher first?
Okay, so he only had 12 months left, and I know that apparently we offered him 3 new deals which he declined. So I can understand why we sold him, but
do you know that for sure? Do you know that for certain?
Well, I mean, this is all just off hearsay, what I see off Twitter.
Yeah, fair. Sorry.
I would have kept him personally, but just because, as you said, he sort of bleeds blue. But I think in the new system that what Maresca wants and Bowley wants, they don't care. It's just about the complete ruthlessness of everything and how they just want the players that they want.
Do you? So next question for me is, how do you feel about the overall feel of it? Because I do think that's the kind of distance between the fans and the club. And again, this might be a different question. You might get a different answer depending on who you are as a fan. But like Ollie said, that word envy, I thought was really good in terms of this idea that you could have had a whole team there, a whole squad there of Cobham Cubs. Do you think that the bulk of Chelsea fans are bothered? They just kind of want a winning team, or do you think does it pull at you, and does it lead to any kind of like dollop of, I don't know, apathy or anything like that? Do you know what I mean? Because I know of a Chelsea fan who certain things happened, and then he was like, I just don't really, I can't do this anymore, that kind of thing, and he sort of stepped away from it. Flav knows him as well. So like, are you getting that? Are you getting that feeling, or are you excited about the young players? Like, what's the sort of temperature there?
It's a difficult one because I really feel like we are getting very soulless now. Selling all the youngsters. Like we wouldn't have had like a John Terry come through nowadays. He would have been sold just because we would have bought all of our centre backs that we've got. So yeah, it's soulless. It hurts, but I think if we were winning the games, I don't think many people would have cared. I think the fans in the stadium would have been on the side of Bowley. They would have said this is the best thing that's ever happened. But I think just because there's been no results, I think that's the big issue.
It's amazing what 3 points or winning four or five games on the bounce will cure any criticism and make you feel completely comfortable in your football club. And what Chelsea did at the last season, they won 5 on the bounce, didn't they? The last 5 games, is that Pochettino, more or less?
Finished strong.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
All Chelsea fans, even those most critical of Pochettino, would like going, actually, maybe he does know something, a thing or two. And that's just a run of 5 games of form. So if Maresca may well be a better coach than we're all giving him credit for. And it may be that just because, the Leicester side played the way it did last season, and you're thinking, actually, well, he's done it in the Championship, but can he really do it at a big club? It's not as simple as that. Maybe he's a better coach, and maybe he does have that 20, between 21 and 25 players that he thinks is going to make Chelsea a decent outfit this season, and fuck the rest of them. Maybe that will work out.
Yeah. Also, it might be. Is it something where maybe it's like, if you think of back in the day, you had your first team and you had your reserves, and maybe the reserves is just not a thing anymore because being a reserves is pointless because that level of football doesn't have the sort of quality or intensity that you need. So there might be an idea that, like, okay, in our first 20 we have the first team, in our second 20 we have the reserves, but that reserves, those players are actually getting a better level of development by going over to Strasbourg or wherever it might be. And then it's kind of, then you come back at, the next summer and you go, okay, who's in our first team? Who's in our reserves? That might be like, that makes more sense, doesn't it? As we discuss it, kind of having that, especially when like the overall talent pool is of a certain age. I'm just intrigued to see what like the next steps are in terms of the, are they going to want to stick with a group for a long enough time, or is there, regardless of if you're first team or reserves, are you always going to get to an age of 28 or whatever, and then they're going to want to sell you because they're going to need to keep the machine going? Like I find that fascinating. So last question, mate. In terms of Maresca, kind of calming things down, which I think they will be okay, because, as I say, if he's just got that 21, then you're going to start to allow that team to understand, their own value within the group. But what needs to happen for us all to shut up about Chelsea and go, okay, fair enough? Like, what's the sort of calm, like, middle season where you're like, all right, fair play?
Good question. Firstly, I think we need to finish top 6 minimum, and I think we just need to stop buying players.
Things you thought you'd never hear, eh?
They love it. They can't stop.
Go on, one more.
One more. Do we need João Felix? Not really, but we can get him. Go on then. Go on.
Yeah, the João Felix one, I'm just really confused. Like, say you'd brought in a player who's like utterly works with Maresca's system, but is also 27, and so he's gonna like hold the hand of the team, if that makes sense. Like, kind of be one of the leaders, like, fine. But like, and I guess the João Felix thing is just maybe to get get Gallagher over the line. But the João Felix one, why are you buying him? I just find it wild. I just don't get it. There's so many players to play in those positions. Anything else you want to say, Tom? Sorry.
Yeah. What else you got to say for yourself, Tom? Nothing.
Honestly, nothing more. I think Chelsea are a bit of a disgrace of a football club at the moment.
Well, not enjoy your work, lads. Enjoy the pod.
Oh, do you know what? Last one. Raheem Sterling. How do you feel about that?
Again, difficult one. I think Chelsea are trying to sort of stockpile players under the age of 24. I think him being the age of 29 and having a wage of 300k a week, it makes sense why we want to get rid of him. And he just hasn't really been good enough recently. Last year he was pretty poor, so it does make sense. I just hope if we sell him, we don't buy someone else.
The state. What did you make of the statement, Tom?
It's not a good look from him, but again, I understand it because we've got 5 players in his position, and he's been there for 2-3 years now.
Imagine that. Raheem Sterling is 5th choice winger at your football club. Mad. I didn't. To be fair, I didn't think. I thought the statement was stupid. It said we want clarity in my position. Well, just walk into your manager's office and ask him, what do you want from me?
Yeah, and in terms of letting the rest of the world know as well, that can be done. That will leak nice and quickly.
Maresca said he would have been given Sterling minutes, but there are wingers. He's not his type of winger, is what he said, Maresca, in his press conference.
Interesting. What I would like to see is Sterling come to QPR. Come home. Just come home. Get that.
Sterling should go. I'll play. Where am I going to play? Where is he going to play in the Premier League? Tell me a club that would sign him and he would absolutely be guaranteed a starting spot. How far down?
Tottenham.
What, on the right?
Hang on a minute. I mean, yeah. I think in terms of like a squad, like in your first 2, I think Raheem Sterling would be a lovely little buy for the Lily Whites.
But yeah, we've committed so much to Brennan Johnson.
Yeah, all those guys. No, I get it.
And Adalbert as well. Right, so it's not Spurs, is it? Then it's not Villa. It's not. Where is it? He's just got to play.
It's QPR, isn't it? I think he just needs to come to Rangers.
It stinks of QPR. It stinks of Rangers, mate.
It does stink of the Rangers. I mean, imagine if he did. What if he was also like, do you know what? I've been at Man City. It's not always felt right there. Yes, I've won the Premier League titles, and I get all that. And I've gone to Chelsea. That's not felt right either. What I need to do is follow what feels right. And I think Queen's Park Rangers can solve that for you. You've got enough money. Come home. Come play for us. Have some great fun with Dembele and Chair and Sato. Oh, I think it's an option. And I think they can eat the wages. Chelsea eat their wages. We'll have the player. Just let him dance for the R's. Get the R's into the Premier League. If Raheem Sterling comes to QPR, we've got a bloody shot. Okay? So just think about it, Raheem. What do you want your legacy to be? Do you know who might want him? Do you know who might bloody want him? Brentford.
He starts on the right for Bremo.
But I mean, Sterling can play on the left. But in terms of like taking an opportunity when it's there, that is something that Brentford do like to do. He hasn't got to move, so it's easy from that point of view.
He's got to go in and say, you don't have to pay my $300,000 a week wages either.
Well, that's it. Yeah, that's something they'll need to sort out. But I guess it's if they're going to do. He wants a proper move, doesn't he? He doesn't want a loan move. That'd be interesting to see if that kind of works out. I think stay in West London if you want to. I mean, Fulham, they've got a lot of players of a similar ilk, so maybe that doesn't really work. West Ham, no. Palace, could have some fun at Palace. Don't hate that one. Forest, you've probably got enough depth there. You don't need to be doing that. Newcastle United?
They've definitely taken.
Newcastle, yeah. He doesn't really like playing on the right. I actually quite like him on the right. Villa, not the worst shout either. He's a bloody good pro, isn't he? Well, I think that's about it. Anyway. So, Tom, thank you very much.
Cheers, boys.
Chelsea fans are full, aren't they? They're full. No more play. Would you like another player, sir? I'm full. No more players for me. Reeks of Palace, says Matt Knight. Palace or Newcastle would be nice. Yeah, the wages, eh? Let's see. League nice. Brentford is. I think Brentford could work. Right, interesting times. As I say, Jaffin is backing, which is wonderful. If you want to become a patron, link is in the description. Join us. We do mailbags where we answer your questions after about 30 minutes of us talking about what just sort of pops up. But it's better than you think. And there's over 150 there. Thoughts on that very quickly? I've got Jamie Vardy in the running order. Good, he's a little scamp, isn't he? Good old Jamie. How do you feel about Jamie?
Yeah.
Do you deep down respect him? He's the Jack Wilshere of Leicester for you, isn't he? I think that would be my guess.
It's mad that literally, we're nearly 10 years on from Leicester's win. What was it, 2015? So yeah, next year will be 2000. It'll be 10 years on, and it's that hatred, or hatred maybe two, but that needle between Leicester and Spurs just hasn't gone away. It just doesn't go away. And obviously Vardy still feels it because he did he tapped the "Say No to Racism" thing on his badge, didn't he? So conscious, and an arsehole at the same time.
I know, it's amazing. People say footballers aren't complex.
Hey?
People say footballers aren't complex.
I know. Look, I don't hate it. I don't mind. I understand. It's like he's involved. He won the league. He's right.
Bit of banter is good.
It's a bit of banter, yeah. But and it's also fine for Spurs fans to throw up a wanker sign in return. That's fine. Everything's fine. It's fair games, no problem. I do though think he's 38 years old now, right? He's a grown man. Maybe sort of rise above it somewhat. No, I mean, perhaps I wouldn't necessarily engage now. Especially, you're looking at a lot of the people in that end, at Spurs end, would have been 20 years old. He's getting wound up by a 20-year-old child, effectively.
Rattled. Do you think? But it all starts. It's his missus gets a lot of, doesn't he, for the old Wagatha stuff, right? I imagine that's always a starting point for a lot of it.
Yeah, you wouldn't like that. Even
he
if
must come home. It must have been several occasions where he's come home from an away game, and he sits down and goes, "How was it then, love?" And he's like, "Why did you do that?
Why did you hit?
Did you have to take it to court?
Did you?"
I don't know. I think she did.
Wasn't she guilty in the end? Was it?
Yeah.
Guilty?
Yeah, I can't remember.
I don't know.
But that is something that he's got to. He almost has to get involved with all the banter now just to get through. I like him. I like Jamie Vardy. Top comments from last week. We were talking about a Man City plea bargain, of basically suggesting like how should they be punished. I'd have to do a voice here for this one. The Hawkins family has asked me to say this. So these are the possible options for Man City. I want to play a game. This is Jigsaw voice. I want to play a game. Is that how you do it? Man City, you have spent the last 10 years avoiding FFP. 150 charges under question. You have played the league. You now have minus 50 point start. If you deserve to be in the league, you will do what you need to survive. The choice is yours. Now it's time for the league to play you. So minus 50 as an option.
Pretty good, actually.
Young Brev says the best outcome is you stack points deductions against City so it can end up in the hundreds, but you cap it at 50 or maybe 60 per season. So they get shagged for 3, 4, 5 years straight and have to scrape survival year after year, but they don't get relegated. Pep won't stay that long, so they'd have to work through that, and top players won't want to be there if European football isn't 100% attainable. Surely, eventually, they get relegated. That's what he'd like to see.
That is good, stacking them. So you just give them hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of points.
Just got to work through the debt, manageable debt, year on year.
Yeah, and this is a payment plan. You have to pay back football for your cheating. That is great. I love that.
Allegedly.
And allegedly if they get found guilty. Because you look at if you're Chelsea, if you're an Everton fan, you look at it and go, we got 10 points for one charge, and they're getting 50 for 115. That doesn't feel right. But 50 a season for 10 years feels right.
Everton fans would be fine with it.
Yeah. I think they'd be absolutely fine with that. So what you've got there is you've got will Man City survive again game every season? Yeah, which would also impact you'd think their ability to attract a certain type of talent they've been used to. Do you want to come to Manchester City and play for Manchester City and be in a relegation dogfight for the next 10 years? Don't know. I'd rather join Arsenal if that's all right.
I think they might. Yeah, I guess they'd probably double down on We double down. Yeah, because it's like we've got 90 points and we've just stayed up. Feels like a slog, doesn't it? It's like sort of like footballing indigestion, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like, ugh. And then after they survive 2 or 3 times, they're going to be like, this is shit. What, you mean this is it then, is it? Just surviving?
This is living, is it? Well, actually, this is what the rest of us do.
Is this what football is it? Well, yeah, for a lot of clubs, yes, it is. Now you've got it. Yeah, I like that, Jim. I love that the point stacking system. Because there's no good giving them 100 points in one season because they just get relegated, they rebound, they come back. 50 points a season for 10 years, that feels like
Swallow that.
Yeah.
Footballing indigestion. Is that a new bit, possibly? What gives you football indigestion? What sort of like stings you? I'm trying to think of one.
It's just
Mikel Arteta saying vocal point.
It's not his fault.
It's got to be a bit longer than that, hasn't it? For footballing indigestion. I think I'm generally in the mixed of footballing indigestion because I'm kind of like, come on, Rangers, just be in the top half. Not even in the hot fart. Do you know who's probably got football indigestion? Everton fans, Preston North End fans, probably a bit fed up at the moment, I would imagine. Other teams that just can't stomach sort of rising to a sort of a certain level. I'm not sure if I'm making sense. But if you do understand what I'm saying, then get involved. Right, here we go. There we land alternatives. So last week we were basking in the glory of the fella who's basically created his own moniker for when he drops a transfer story. We actually spoke about one yesterday, which is, I think, some guy called, I'll give him a shout, Oscar Brow, I think. And I've been told that he is on a wind-up, and his thing is knock, knock, hello. And I can't stop saying knock, knock, hello.
I think it's clear. When I saw it, I was like, yeah, he's clearly winding up.
Only time will tell.
He goes knock, knock, and then he goes,
hello. Yeah. Hello. So what we want to do here is, and I didn't do the Jim Big Laugh Award because I just wanted to let them sort of stay in here. So you'll be able to react to these in the moment. So Josh Rogers, welcome Josh. He says this is one that could be used. Liverpool agreed personal terms with Georgi Mamadashvili. Contract for 2028 with Georgian goalkeeper arriving to Bournemouth on loan for the 2024-25 season. That'll do, pig. I think that'll do, pig
good.
Works. Is
that'll
that happening? Mamadashvili's going to
too many words. That'll do, pig.
Yeah, actually, good.
Maybe.
Good critique from you. Good critique.
Yeah, it's 4. I mean, it is 1. If you say that's all is 1 word, but it's actually 2 words, isn't it?
I think what I want as well is something that can be used like throughout the season for us, in different sort of scenarios. This could be one 3-syllable catchphrase. It's actually 4, isn't it? Yeah. I'll let it go. Zach says, "It's gonna blow."
No.
I'm not sure. No, it doesn't look like.
Okay. No, it's too many syllables, isn't
it? Nicky 71. Conor Gallagher to Atletico Madrid. Touch me up is the funniest one I've seen. Touch me up.
The biggest one is I am circumcised, isn't it? That's the one that's been flying around.
Yeah. So that is one I've got. What I am, but that doesn't make any sense, does it? Touch me up. That works.
Excited.
Does work.
He's
yeah.
Excited.
I'm intrigued. I'm excited about it. Touch me up. Dembele signs. Clates. This made me laugh. It's a good celebration that we can be doing. I don't know how, again, but maybe it will reveal itself over the season. I hope you're doing well, Clates. Absolutely crying out for an up the wife on any Liverpool transfer business this summer. Up the wife. Zubimendi signs. Up the wife.
Up the wife.
Up the wife. Suggesting maybe that you're going to make some sweet love that evening based on the buzz you've got from a transfer. Can affect your mood, football. Can affect your mood. James with square feet, that's his name. I get all my transfer news from Shania Twain. I don't believe anything until I hear those 3 magical syllables. Let's go, girls. Let's go. That's a good one. Let's go, girls. She still looks great, Shania. Shania's not a real name. Shania's not a real name.
Is it not?
Do you know that?
What's it like? No, I didn't know that.
PSS on Theo's got your one. I am circumcised. Calvin Phillips signs for Ipswich, which is my personal favourite from the ones I've watched. 3-word syllable from Joseph. Bish bash bosh. I only put this in. Bish bash bosh got 42 likes. Don't hate it. The reply I was just like, that's our community. What? Malibu FC said, mine is Kane self-bummed.
Kane self-bummed.
No, exactly. Doesn't make sense. This is good. Also doesn't make sense, but I kind of like it because it doesn't make sense. A bit like There We Land, which doesn't really make sense. There We Land.
No, doesn't. No, it doesn't make it. I'm not going to be the first person to criticise this kid because it's just everyone loves him, so it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, Jack Hancock says, "Oh, Jack, we've got to do your bit in a second. Hancock's hot take coming up any minute now. Get ready." Felix,
he's got one.
Well, I don't know. Well, we've asked him to, haven't we? Jack Hancock says, "Felix to Chelsea, bum the kids."
Bum the kids.
One that you're not sure about. Bum the kids. Chelsea, a Chelsea transfer TikTok account would be, please no more. Simply Chaff said, my 3-word phrases, he has came. Doesn't make sense.
Came.
He has came. If there's a wind-up one, that's good. Toonami says, let's get noshing. Mark Gay to Newcastle is now confirmed. And that's your lot. I think There We Land is
let's
right
get
up there.
noshing.
Let's get noshing. Good stuff.
Did you see the match of the day, 60 today?
It is, yeah. The I think it's.
Is it still relevant?
Is it still relevant? He asked. I think it's obviously waned somewhat because we take in our football far more immediately than we used to. But
I love it still.
Do you?
Yeah, if we win, Spurs win, I love putting on Match of the Day. It's almost like I look forward to it because it's on late and there's generally nothing else to watch anyway. Or you do a little reminder. My favourite thing, Spurs have won. Can't remember the last time we won, but Spurs have won. Put the little Match of the Day reminder on. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's like growing up. Pause it when Arsenal are playing. And then wait the 10 minutes of the highlights till that plays out. Fast forward so I don't have to watch that shit. And carry on with the show.
Yeah, I love it.
Take the gig if it was offered it now.
Yeah, of course I'd play tag. I have to, no. I think I'd open it up to a new world. I'll be pushing the channel throughout. Your commentator is going to be found out on the JLA channel. Go check it out.
Could you imagine? Would you reckon you'd be okay with the heat that would come with it? Because there would definitely be this. What are YouTubers hosting Match of the Day? Regardless of the fact that you could do it, there'd be this sort of energy. Would you be ready for that, Jim?
Well, look, that's their free will. I mean, on another note, I think an important question is, Flav, does free will really exist? It's a tricky one, but I think I would take it. Because I think you can't turn down that kind of opportunity. And also, I think it's one where when people go, "Oh, is that a YouTuber?" As long as you do a good job, they'll figure it out. Fortunately, like the people here that watch us, they figured it out. They're like, well, "Okay, the world's moving forward. There's other people we can listen to, and I'm going to do such said thing." So just relax. I think Gary will be there for another decade, I imagine. The problem you've got is that there's a whole generation. What I've been intrigued to know is anyone under the age of 20, could they care less? Probably not.
Do you think like anyone in the chat watching it now, if you're under sort of 25, do you watch Match of the Day? If your team wins, not you, Jack, obviously, because you're Portsmouth and there's no point for you. Actually, or you, Jim. That's why you don't like it, because QPR aren't on it. It's just about the Prem.
Do you know what though? But if you are a team in the bottom half that is struggling, you're also not going to enjoy it for the bulk of the season either.
Yeah, true. It is pretty much for the. It is. You're right.
It can become a slog. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, no. Good luck to him. I would. Yeah, you would take it. It'd be interesting to see if it is still there in a decade. I think it probably will be. I think it's important. I think the BBC is really important, because I think it sets a standard of at the very least attempting to be impartial. And I think that's
I like it. I'm not one of these people that bang on about not paying their TV license. Don't pay it. I won't pay it. It's like, well, I quite like the BBC.
We must.
I'm willing to pay my TV license for the, all the radio that you get, all of the TV you get, the World Service, Attenborough, Blue Planet. So it's worth some of the shit.
Traitors.
Shit that. Huh? Traitors. EastEnders.
Uh-huh. EastEnders are still going.
I don't know.
Do you know what, actually, as well, as a sort of package, Match of the Day is good. You get to watch 10 minutes highlights, then you get a bit of analysis on it, and that's enough. Whereas if you're just watching either a breakdown, that could be 15 minutes, or the highlights themselves, that could be 2 minutes. So I'm all for Match Day. I'm here for it. Hancock's hot take, in you come. Whilst Hancock's making his way in, this is off the back of him making quite a egregious take that you weren't happy with.
He said that Happy Gilmore was a 3 out of 5, like an average film, and which, it's dated, but I can't. This is a part of my growing up, the fabric of my growing up. Happy Gilmore, and I've watched this film. Probably as much as any other film that I've watched. Jaws. If the 3 most watched films in my life: Happy Gilmore, Jaws, and Friday. Those are 3 films that I watched over and over again.
You're gonna die, clown.
You watched Friday, Jack?
No, that's the only one of the 3 you just said that I haven't watched. So I might disappoint you a third time and watch that.
Okay. I don't know. I completely anticipate you disappointing me again for sure. But
I'm used to it.
So for anyone who doesn't know, because it's important to give a bit of context here, Flav, sorry, is Mr. Jack Hancock has a podcast. Is this correct, Jack?
Yes.
This podcast reviews films and such like. Is that correct?
And football. We do a bit of film, bit of football,
little
and
mix.
a guest section.
Lovely. So we're kind of treading on your toes here a little bit, but I think it's good PR and good exposure for you. So hopefully we can just move forward. What is the name of the podcast?
The name of the podcast is Floodlights, Camera, Action, which is superb. I didn't come up with it, but it's great.
It's got the floodlights and the football, but also sort of linked with the film.
Yeah, really nice.
So
really nice.
On 2 levels, really.
And just people going, well, why would I listen to this bloke? So what? 1, Jack does analysis of football, but 2, how many films have you watched in this calendar year?
In this calendar year, so far, 253.
So
all time, 865.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a bit much, isn't it?
It's 2 a day, pretty much, isn't it?
Well, 1.3.
1.3, right? But and the amount of football games doesn't mean that your takes are good. Okay, we can all watch. We can all watch something. Can we articulate what we're saying? A lot of pressure coming here, Jack. Just ride it. So, with that in mind, what is Hancock's hot take for this week? Maybe the first time, maybe the last time. Let's find out.
Hancock's hot take of the week is that Happy Gilmore is just okay. It's decent. Not every film has to be really good or really shit. Most films are just okay, and Happy Gilmore is one of them.
I think if I went back and watched, there are some films that will age badly from a comedic sense. I think with Shooter McGavin, I think with the layered elements of it, I think the fun that it brings. I think with Ben Stiller, with what's his name, Chubbs, is that his name?
Chubbs took his hand.
Yeah. Well, I think you're wrong. But
I think you're a fucking piece of shit, mate.
Well, whatever.
Well, that's the heat that comes with Hancock's hot takes.
Fucking elbow, mate.
Yeah. That's fine. That's what we want. We want the hot takes. The comments will.
I'll tell you a film he does rate though. Loves it. One of the best films he's ever seen. Ocean's 11. Loves it.
It's not one of the best. It's good. It's bloody good, and it's better than Jaws. But it's not one of the best.
James, get him out.
I appreciate it. On this occasion. I fear you're wrong with Happy Gilmore. Question for you: would Happy Gilmore be a success if it was made today?
Probably not.
Probably
I'd
not.
give him that.
Needs
No,
the
but I
VHS
don't-
market, doesn't it?
I don't think that's because the comedy's not aged well. I just don't think it's. I didn't find it particularly funny. I think it was of its era. But it's just a 6 out of 10 film, and I think that's okay. I think you need to stop being so hyperbolic, Flav. Things can just be okay.
Look, you're reducing it to merely talking about a film. I understand that. I understand it's a 6 out of 10 film, but you're also stepping on my formative years as an adult. So it may just be for you a 6 out of 10 film, but for me it was seminal, right? You understand
Hey,
that?
I'm not denying that. You know, it's your lived experience.
How about
but
you don't
it's
watch
not mine.
films from that era ever again, right? You stick to your own shitty little era. Your Gen Z. What is it?
It is a shit era. I'll give you
Yeah,
that.
is it? How many great films are coming out at the moment?
Like a few,
Okay.
not loads.
Not
Look
loads.
forward to your hot take.
Oh,
next.
yeah.
It doesn't have to be controversial either.
It's just Hancock's hot. It's your take.
I'm just shooting from the hip. I'm shooting from the
yeah.
hip.
Okay.
Shooter.
Shoot out too hot.
Just quickly, out of 5, what did you give Jaws?
Sorry.
3.5. Again, good film. But I think it was because. Well, can I justify myself? I think it's because, as you say, it wasn't a seminal film for me. It wasn't something from my childhood that really gripped me. So now, when I'm experiencing it as an adult, well, adult is borderline, but it's just good, and think that's okay. It's just good.
Oh, can I give you a note? Right. First of all, whilst
Go on.
before the Jaws Hancock hot take was dropped, I was sort of reflecting on Happy Gilmore, and there are so many great characters in that, and so many bizarre moments that are wonderful. So I think you should go back and reflect on that. 3 out of 5.
I'm not watching it
Secondly,
again.
when reviewing films from the past, are you allowing for, the sort of the aging process of the world that we live in?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
No, you're
absolutely.
not. You're clearly
I
not.
am.
You're clearly
I am.
not. You're clearly not. Can I? Let me tell them. Rate out of. I don't know if you've listened to them. This is like a kid who's listened to the Beatles and just gone. It's all right. Don't really get it. Don't really get it. I've never been more rattled in my life,
Okay.
Luke. Jack,
Do you know what, let's.
congratulations.
Yeah, well done, Jack.
You're very welcome.
Good. Hey, great start. Great start. We'll see you next week, hopefully.
Punchy.
Punchy.
Knock knock. Goodbye. See you lads.
Very good.
Hang on a second. So he's saying Ocean's 11 is not only a better film, but significantly better than Jaws. Is a crazy take.
Do you actually, hang on, can you
Crazy.
just jump in? So sorry, can you just give us a film that's got a 4 out of 5? So, and then is therefore above Jaws.
I'd like to know a 5 out of 5 as well, if you've given any. Anyway,
We'll finish off, mate. Hopefully this will cheer you up somehow. With the People versus Carlton Palmer. This is on you.
Yeah.
This is your bit. We
not
were having
really,
a chat yesterday. It's basically like it's sort of like either or, isn't it? But it turns out.
I just think what's better than. I was thinking about it. What's better than Carlton Palmer in the world? There's a lot of things, but let's just figure it out.
Yeah.
Like is
Well, because what we had yesterday was you were saying we're talking about lasagna. I think. No. Do you know what we were talking about? We were talking about spaghetti bolognese, and I put forward the idea that there's no one on this planet that hates spaghetti bolognese. So, for example, we can carry it on down that road. I hate vinegar. I don't like it. If you put it on my chips, I'm not eating those chips now. Don't want them now, right? So you can be like, spag bowl's all right. That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about depths of get that away from me. I can't manage to eat spag bowl. I don't think there's anyone on the planet who can do that. Okay. So we then started to talk about lasagna, and then you were saying, then you created this game. Go.
which is what's better than lasagna is, if you think about them as footballers, we'll start with Carlton Palmer because the bar is quite low. Is lasagna better than Carlton Palmer? For you?
For me, I would say lasagna is better than Carlton Palmer.
Yeah.
And can I say one thing on lasagna? The quality of how fulfilling a lasagna is dependent on how much I get.
Right.
If I'm giving a small piece of lasagna with a bit of salad, then I'm actually that's frustrating for me. Whereas if I can get
how much lasagna do you want?
Big old lump, seconds, because that's the problem with lasagna. Let me tell you, the problem with lasagna, right? Is this. So like that's your lasagna, right? Right.
Oh,
You
what-
cut up the lasagna into like sections. Now I want half of that.
Right, no, James, I've got a question. Stop. Hold it up. Draw a normal lasagna. No, on the back of that, draw the size of a lasagna that you would want to eat for yourself in a square, in a rectangle. How big, realistically?
I'll tell you what. Okay, right. I'll tell you what I'll be given. Because what will naturally happen is right. Hang on, let me go to. There you go. What will naturally happen with lasagna is, of course, they're going to go like that. They're going to go through the middle. Right. Understandably. Okay. Actually, hang on. Let's do this right. I've had this pen for so long and I've never used it. Right.
I want to know the physical size of how
when
much
you have
lasagna you
when
want to eat.
when you have a lasagna, like if someone's carving a lasagna, you go through the middle first, don't you? Like, if you don't do that,
Yeah.
then you're a nutcase, right? So that's my kind of starting point. So then we're talking width, where we're going. Now, I'll show you what I'll be given. What you'd generally be given. I'll generally be given this. But let me tell you what I want. Well, actually, let me show you. So you get given that. That's what you get given. Hang on.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to go full screen here. Hang on. You get given. I'll get given that as a section, which I think is actually quite sizable, right? But I'm not gonna be full with that. I want more.
James, listen to me. I'm giving you a direct request. Listen to what I'm saying.
Yeah, go
Actually, listen. Draw the size of lasagna you want.
I want to eat.
I want to see a real size drawing, not how many sections. How big a piece of lasagna do you want, and draw that physical.
Okay. That's what I want.
So you want that much lasagna?
Yeah, I want.
That's bigger than a plate.
Yeah,
That's massive.
Yeah, that is too much.
Right, now draw the actual size. Listen to what I'm saying, James. I don't know how to say it any clearer than I am. Imagine the size of the plate. How much of that plate should be filled with lasagna?
Okay, hang on then. Should I draw down a plate?
Yeah, draw a normal size
Draw a
plate.
normal
How
size
much
plate.
of that plate should have lasagna on it?
Okay, normal size plate. Normal size plate. That's a terrible circle. Right.
Fine.
What? Okay, there you go. I'm listening as
want
well.
all of the-
I want a fucking solid amount of lasagna. Like, so, okay, right. Thing is though, right? Let me say that's not lasagna, because essentially lasagna is pasta, isn't it? It's pasta. It's spag bol,
pasta,
which is in a different
bechamel
form,
sauce.
right?
Yeah.
Bechamel sauce.
yeah,
Fair point, right? If I'm turning this into spaghetti,
Yeah.
nothing's changed. It's just in the same spot. I just want. So when I'm getting given, when I'm getting given this for lasagna, I'm pissed off.
Yeah, mate, I'm with you. You're 100% correct. You're right.
Thank you.
You're right. No, you're right. You're right.
So that's
And
why
do you know-
lasagna is a complex.
It is.
Talk about
No,
complex
I got
carb.
you. I got you. And actually, I don't know if you've made lasagna from scratch. It's a ball ache.
Yeah, I wouldn't bother. I mean, it's delicious
Yeah.
though. That's why. Do you
It
know
is
what's great?
delicious.
Christmas Eve, Mum she'll make 2 trays. Right, you'll have it for dinner and you'll behave, and you'll have something with it, and then you go out, a few drinks on the way back.
no one's looking.
Fucking destroy the rest of it.
So, yeah, it's one of them ones where you're sitting down in front of the Christmas TV, and then after about 10 minutes, you just get up, go to the kitchen, stand in the dark with a spoon,
Yeah.
shoveling lasagna into your gob.
Yeah. Anyone want a drink? Anyone want a cup of tea? I'll get it.
What?
Just trying to get some down here. God bless it.
Just loitering around the
Thank
kitchen.
you, Ben. That's why Ben's a moist slug. This is why we connect. He said, if I'm having lasagna, I don't give a fuck about chips or salad. I want to be full on lasagna. Thank you. I want to be. I don't know. That's the best. That's the best way you can say it. If I'm having lasagna, I want to be full on lasagna. Right? You can garnish it with a little side salad, or it's it's back to, I can't remember the boxing bloke's name. You're gonna need a bigger plate. I want a big plate.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I love
so
that.
Carlton Palmer, lasagna I like more than Carlton Palmer, but I do.
I don't know if we can follow this conversation, but the way because that was gold, James.
Okay.
That
Well,
was
let's
enough.
just play this out. So Lasagna wins. Carl Palmer. So
Right,
Carl
John
Palmer
McGinn.
gone now. John McGinn.
John McGinn.
Oh, all right. The meatball versus lasagna. Very clever. I do like John McGinn.
I quite like
Yeah.
John McGinn,
Hang on. So small portion of lasagna or large portion?
I've said as much lasagna as you want.
Right. Okay. No, John McGinn. I'm gonna. Oh, it's close for John
see?
McGinn. I think I'd just about go John McGinn. Yeah.
Okay, mayonnaise or John McGinn.
I do like mayonnaise.
I know you do.
Like mayonnaise, not in one like mound of it. Do you know what I mean? It's like over time. I think I like mayonnaise
just
more than I
as-
like John McGinn. This is good. This is good.
So you go mayonnaise.
Yeah, I'm going mayonnaise.
All right, a mayonnaise or
Last one.
a Delta wrapped.
You can't do that every time. You can't do a Delta wrapped every time.
Well, this is the first time we played it, Jim.
Okay,
Actually,
fine. We played it yesterday. Anyway. Yeah, Adele. Come home, Adele.
Delta wrapped.
Adele,
Delta wrapped wins.
Adele and
The winner
Sterling.
of this-
Adele and Sterling. Make it happen.
The winner of this week's Is It Better Than Cole Palmer is a Delta wrap.
There's a Delta wrap.
Congratulations.
Delta wrap. So what we need in the comments is starting with Carlton Palmer, and whatever you want. Want sort of five layers, let's say.
Yeah, I think Colton Palmer, and then just let us play
Ooh.
basically.
Ollie Sage says, would you? Well, I would never have mayo on lasagna. Pedo behaviour. Someone said
No.
that.
No, what? No, not. I think in lasagna you don't need any condiment, do you? You just is enough.
Do you know what, can I blow your mind? Yesterday, the neighbour brought round a fish pie, which was very kind of them, and we had. Yeah, I know.
They
They're
just turned up with a
lovely.
fish
They're
pie.
just the nicest neighbours you could ever imagine. They're phenomenal.
Is it the
people.
ones we met?
Yeah, yeah,
He's from
yeah.
Birmingham or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did seem lovely.
And
Just thought I'll just give him a fish pie. We're baking one. We thought we'd bake one for you.
that's exactly
There
what
you
they
go.
did. It's
Lovely
really-
neighbour
it's-
behaviour.
It's getting to the point now where it's like, well, God, have I got to make something for you now?
Yeah, you do. What are you gonna make?
Yeah, and I might do. But the fish pie, so we sort of heat up the fish pie, and it was wonderful. But what it did have in it was, I think it had whole grain mustard in it, and it was brilliant.
Yeah, I can see that. There's not much whole grain mustard doesn't improve. I would say. Like if you're making a cheese sauce, a bechamel sauce, or you're making macaroni cheese, you're definitely adding a little bit of
A wee bit of mustard,
truffle,
yeah.
maybe tiny bit of truffle sauce and mustard for sure.
Okay.
Oh,
But yeah, it was a shock, but it was honestly delightful.
was
right
it?
up there. Right
Well,
up there.
can you in terms of condiments on lasagna? What are you? You're not using any, really, are you? What are you
No,
thinking?
I shouldn't need anything really. No.
So Will Starling says a bit of hot sauce on lasagna goes
Yeah,
off.
I'm fine with
Which
that.
would never-
Yeah, I'm okay with that.
It never occurred to me.
Essentially, it's, there's so many different variations of pasta or carbohydrate tomato cheese. So many.
It's a gift, really. If
really
you think
is.
about it.
It really is.
And
That would be a good tier list.
Would you say? Yeah.
We just need COVID to come back.
What? Well, we had some mad ideas in COVID. Well, you had, and I just sat here and go, "What are
Went
we
through
doing
the alphabet,
here?"
didn't we?
Remember just doing the alphabet, just going through the alphabet. It didn't mean anything.
F
go
is
through
for
the
fruit.
alphabet.
F is for fruit. Fruit tier list. Dark days.
There's nothing to talk about.
Yeah, it's all right. We're out of that now. Right, and on that bombshell of whole grain mustard and fish pie, we bring to an end this week's Jaffin. Thank you to all our contributors today, Tom, all our beloved patrons, and of course Hancock's Hot Take, and you, Flav, as well. If you want to join us on our mailbag, links in the description. We do a mailbag every week, and there are 160 odd now that you can go back and enjoy. And if there's anyone here who's watched this podcast for literally the first time today and got to the end, let us know in the comments down below. I would love to know.
Or, yeah, I don't know if they should.
Okay.
If you're still with us, then go and listen to Football Between the Lines podcast. If you don't
Yeah,
mind.
that's a top 10 pod, isn't
brand
it?
new
Top 5.
Yeah, still in there, weirdly.
Right. Have a great weekend. Can't Rangers. Speak soon. Bye.
Yeah, bye.